In this video, we'll discuss the script and presentation. Theoretically, at this point, you already did the due diligence and completed the worksheet. You found out what options are available and which ones make the most sense. You did the pre-design work and have an idea and a roadmap as to which direction to take the customer, and as Taylor McCarthy discussed in the previous video. Before doing the presentation with the customer, you should be prepped and ready to go. Please be prepared to jot down the answers the customers provide you by having a pad and pen ready. Your notes will come in handy later on. In addition, you'll need to have a number of tabs open on your internet browser. At minimum, you should have the pre-design and proposal open in the Freedom Forever portal. In addition, you should have the presentation tab open in the CRM. In case you elect to show the customer later on, you should have already completed a Google search for articles that relate to their utility company's rate increases. By taking the time to do it, it'll show them that you came prepared and hopefully providing credibility, setting you apart and demonstrating your professionalism. Also, if they provide you their electric bill, have it open. It's better to be prepared and not use it than need it and not have it and look unprofessional. I know I mentioned this before, but it bears repeating. You must have the script printed out and ready to go. Do not read the script from a computer screen. From a delivery standpoint, you'll want to remain in control of the conversation. You'll need to follow the script with your fingertips. That way, when the customer interrupts you with a question, comment, or a concern, you can address it and go right back to where you left off without missing a beat. There is no awkward silence or absent-minded while you find your place where you left off at. From an operation or mechanical standpoint, you're moderating and operating the presentation while you're delivering the script, going from slide to slide. You don't want to have the customer see the script if you only have one computer screen and you're toggling back and forth. For that matter, even if you had two computer screens, it's almost impossible to operate all of them simultaneously. Let's briefly talk about the PowerPoint presentation. The presentation is fairly easy to navigate. You'll notice at the top of the page there's a series of navigational tabs. On the left-hand side, there's three tabs that operate the zoom features. You can zoom in, you could zoom out, or you can reset it to its original setting. On the right-hand side, we have the previous page. In the middle, we have the index. It not only shows the titles of each slide, but allows you to navigate directly to them. It provides flexibility by letting you choose which one you want to go to if the need arises. The one on the right goes to the next page or the next slide. As I said, it's fairly easy. As you may have noticed, the script is fairly complex. Like an onion, the script has many layers to it. It's comprehensive and offers something for everyone. It's easy to follow and understand both for the agent and from the customer's perspectives. Script and presentation are designed to work hand in hand with each other. You may have heard the old sales adage, facts tell and stories sell. I'll repeat that again. Facts tell, stories sell. When creating the script, it became apparent that a customized presentation was also needed to coincide with the script for a number of reasons. The first being to help narrate the story to the customer. The script is basically describing the slides that are being shared with the customer. The second reason is the presentation in the Freedom Forever portal is too generic and incomplete. Not to mention everyone uses it, and we want to set ourselves apart and be different. The main purpose is that it includes a number of calculators that are built in to help demonstrate to the customer how the numbers were derived rather than having to show them manually on a whiteboard. The customer can see side by side what their current situation is against what we're proposing, along with all the benefits, all in one place. They're designed to tell a story and engage the customer in a conversational manner. Each slide in the PowerPoint has its own script, basically breaking it all down into bite sized pieces by describing and explaining the slides. Think about this presentation as a series of scenes that make up a play. Think of the script as a series of scripts, one for each scene in the play. All the slides are all interconnected and designed to tell a story, to keep the customer engaged, interested, and involved. The goal is to remain in control, create the pain points and sense of urgency. It's allowing you to set expectations and the tone, staying ahead of the customer. In most cases, the script is addressing the answer to their questions or concerns before they even have a chance to think about it or to bring it up. You'll come off as a professional, someone they can trust and believe in. Keep in mind, the script is a guideline to follow. Obviously, every customer is different and will have different interests, just as every situation is different. Therefore, we want to be adaptable to the particular customer and situation. If you feel that a customer is getting bored with a particular topic, cut it short and keep it moving by going on to the next slide or the next subject. But by the same token, if you notice they are interested, engage them further. As I said, we also have optional dialogue and slides built in that may apply in certain situations that may not apply in others. With that said, let's dive into the script and talk about the inner workings of it. The script is pretty self-explanatory and provides you step-by-step directions. Therefore, I'm not going to go through the entire presentation or script with you. I'm going to demonstrate how it works for the first few slides so you get the gist and go through the finer points of the more complicated sections with you. You'll notice that the script is color coordinated. Different color highlights and fonts mean different things and should be approached accordingly. Please note there's a lot of instructions, rebuttals, and sidebars built in. Therefore, it's not nearly as long as what it looks like. You'll see in yellow with the red font are my instructions to you. It means an action is required. An example would be telling you to go to slide 1 and begin shooting the breeze. The blue background with the red font is a second instruction where an action is required. In green, these are questions we're asking the customer. We're asking probing questions throughout the script, and what we're doing it for a number of reasons. The first being is to keep them engaged and interested. Nobody wants to be spoken to, they want to be spoken with. Also, it prevents us from rambling on and giving us a rest and involving them into the conversation. The biggest reason is to find out what their motivating goals and pain points are. By them telling you those, they're telling you how to close them by overcoming their objections and turning negatives into positives. The reality is, if you explain to someone what it is you're doing, why it is you're doing it, why you're asking the questions that you are, and why it's important that they answer them, 95% of the time, people will go along with you and give you the answers that you need. You'll see the blue background are built-in sidebars. They're adding additional info or built-in rebuttals. These are not part of the script. Again, they're optional. If you decide that you need them, use them. The gray background are follow-ups to rebuttals. Again, optional, situational. In purple, these are optional. You can use them if needed if the situation arises and it's called for. They're not required, nor are they part of the script. You'll see a red background with white font. That's a major instruction. Major action is required. You also see there's no background with red font. Only say it if the situation calls for it. In other words, it's a warning sign for you. The first thing you see on page 1 is a list of probing questions, triggers, and empathy phrases. They are listed at the tops of both part 1 and part 2 of the script. They're there for your convenience to initiate small talk in case you're wanting to buy time for yourself because your mind goes blank or you can't think of what to say or ask, or you're just killing time. As you can see in the highlighted section, it directs you to slide 1 in the presentation. Highlighted in green, again, is a probing question, followed by another instruction. Wait for their answer. I know having it written out like this for you is obvious and simplistic. However, doing these virtual presentations are a lot different than doing them in person. Sometimes we get hung up on reading the script and forgetting about the nuances of having a normal conversation like you would if you were sitting at their dining room table in their house. On page 4, I mentioned that we have optional slides and verbiage. Here we have an option, an instruction, followed by another instruction, followed by a rebuttal, followed by another instruction and another rebuttal, and then a question, then another instruction. We have a lot to unpack because that's a lot going on. In purple, the instruction is indicating that it's optional, meaning it's your choice to determine if it applies and if there's an advantage to you using it. In yellow, it's giving you the instruction to go to slide 7. And then in blue, it's giving you a second instruction and how to use it. And then in gray, it's another rebuttal and instructing you what to say if you decide to share the slide. Again, these are all optional should you decide to use them. Now, let me show you what this looks like in the slide itself. So if we go to slide 7, like it's asking us to do, this slide is demonstrating how compound interest works. In this case, it's talking about annual inflation rates. We only want to use it to demonstrate how the total cost was derived and how the sausage was made. It shows the annual increase in total cost from year to year for 25 years if the customer did nothing and stayed with their electric company. This is another example of the script working hand in hand with the presentation. In the script, we're asking what the percentage of our electric bill increases each year, and then we use that answer to match it in the chart with what their current monthly electric bill is. Once again, the instruction in the script is to double right click on the presentation and open up the chart completely. We have to do it this way because of formatting issues in the PowerPoint. It's simply because of the sheer size of the chart. It's just way too big. Once you determine what both the interest rate and the average bill is, you can just scroll across to the right and see how the monthly payments increase each year and gets extended out over 25 years. The example I chose was 4% increase, and you can see that here in this first column. Just scroll to the appropriate interest rate, and then once you're in the interest rate, find the exact monthly amount that you're looking for. You can see the first year it's $300 a year, followed by 312, 324, 337. If you extend it out, in year 25, the payment is $768. They're spending $9,227 a year for just electricity. If you added up all 25 years, they're spending almost $150,000. That's if they did absolutely nothing, stayed with their utility company. Now, you heard me say facts tell and stories sell. Using the chart where the customers can actually see it, it's more powerful than just telling them what the numbers are. In fact, you guys probably tuned out listening to me tell those numbers. Well, what do you think a customer's going to do? In addition, it helps build credibility by showing them how the sausage was made and how you came up with those numbers. Another nuance I wanted to bring to your attention is in the script on page 6. Here we're talking about solar panels working in different types of weather. In the red font, we're talking about snow. Well, if you're talking to somebody who lives in a state like Florida where there is no snow, obviously you don't want to mention it. You'll look like a fool if you do. So the red font is more or less a warning to you of not to do it or to pay attention. Also on page 6, we have a sidebar built in, meaning it's information you should be aware of. It's not necessarily part of the script and should only be used if necessary. Finally, to close out this section or part 1, the script is giving you a stop or go option. Green for go, continue, red for stop. The main goal up until this point in the process was to get in front of the customer. The sad part about the industry is that most agents will not meet with the customer until they provide an electric bill. The reason being, aside from them being lazy, is they cannot build out or quote an accurate proposal without knowing the specific usage. What these agents fail to realize is that only about 40% of the customers are going to provide an electric bill ahead of time just because you asked them for it. There's no point of reference and they don't know you from Adam. Therefore, these agents are losing at minimum 60% of their opportunities. Let that sink in. If they had 10 appointments, they're only sitting with 4 out of the 10. As I said, our job is to get in front of these people and take advantage of every opportunity. Therefore, the script is divided into 2 parts, the introduction and the close. So part 1 was basically designed to sell them the idea of solar by explaining the basics and creating a foundation. So if they already have not done so yet, we're giving them every reason in the world for a call to action. We want to provide enough meat on the bone to make them want to jump through hoops, go on a scavenger hunt, find the bill, and then have them send it to you. Keep in mind, without the electric bill, we can't give them an accurate proposal. We're just going through the motions. Now, if the customer already provided you the electric bill, as I said, highlighted in green is go. It says go and continue to the next section. If no bill is received, it's giving you a series of instructions to get it. We're giving them every opportunity in the world to get you the bill. So if they don't send it while you're speaking with them, you have to do a hard stop and explain the reason why and schedule another meeting once the bill is received in order to finish the presentation. Again, do not continue even though you may want to satisfy the customer or pacify them. It's going to have the opposite effect if you do. It doesn't matter what the customer wants. The truth is, we can't continue without it. You must demand that they provide it. And as discussed, we have to control the entire process. If you continue, nothing good is going to come of it. You can't be afraid of losing a deal that was never yours to lose. The reality is, these people were never serious to begin with, as they're not providing you the electric bill. Even if you did comply, eventually you're going to lose all your credibility by providing them phantom numbers that they're going to hold you to and use against you. It won't matter what terminology you used. You may have said to them, well, these are examples for illustration purposes only. At the end of the day, you're setting yourself up for failure. Therefore, trust the process and end the meeting and schedule another meeting to complete the presentation once you receive the bill. I promise you, these customers will respect you for it. They'll think you're acting as a professional. So that's section 1 in a nutshell. We've now built the foundation for the customer. So the next section is going to make sense and the information will be put into perspective for the customer. In the next video, we'll talk about ownership versus leasing, building out the system, financing options, and how to close. Please let us know if you have any questions or need clarification. Thanks so much,